is also going to happen in the broad spectrum area of handling, managing resources, managing information, and ensuring that there's smooth running of the office atmosphere. And it's also interesting that a Nigerian thought it deeply important to have a book of this nature, write about it, and then bring it out. And let's look at evolving a digitally enabled Nigerian public service. Digitally enabled Nigerian public service. Now, because of the pessimism often expressed by even the public servants themselves, not just Nigerians in general, even the public servants themselves, there's always this feeling of apathy, all right, that, oh no, anything that is Nigerian, not go work, I beg you. But that's not always, it's not the truth at all. It's not. So this Nigerian-born author who's based in Vienna, Austria, and I think he's been everywhere, but he will correct me after. His name is Jacobs Edo, and he's an old boy of Edo College, Benin City. He says I should say that because he's proud of that, but I went to Immaculate Conception College, Benin City, so I'm also proud of my place. But you see, he represented and won the best prize in physics and mathematics in JETS competition, and earned in 1998 a Bachelor of Engineering degree in Electrical Engineering from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and subsequently completed the Shell Intensive Training Program, SITP, in Warri, earning a specialization diploma in information technology issued by the Robert Gordon University, Aberdeen, and SPDC. With numerous ERP technologies and other important global certifications in the bag, Jacobs proceeded to receive in 2014 the very prestigious Global Business Transformation Management, GBTM, Master's Certification by SAP AG and the University of Applied Sciences and Arts, Northwestern Switzerland Business Transformation Academy, Northwestern Switzerland Business Transformation Academy. He also holds a master's degree in telecommunication and internet technologies from the Technical University of Applied Sciences, Vienna. Currently, he is studying for a doctorate degree in Big Data Analytics from Colorado Technical University, Colorado Springs, USA. And that corrects what I said earlier. So Jacob is married with 3 children, a girl and 2 boys. And Jacob is a man that when you look at him, you will not believe that he's the man that I've just been talking about. Now, hello Jacob, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, sir. Now, this is very interesting. Evolving a digitally enabled Nigerian public service. I shared this with a few of my critical friends. It's, go to any minister's office, or PAMSEC's office, or director's office. They hardly touch their computers. So who's going? Then I said, no, it's not them who probably will be doing it. They will have a whole complement of staff that should do that. But that's answering my questions and trying to allay my fears. What did you find necessary before you wrote this book?
Well, thank you for the question. And actually, this is also the observation coming from a number of other people watching the public services in Nigeria.
Yes.
But in terms of the drive, we've seen a number of critical issues that is bedeviling the country, and not just also the country, also globally. Most countries are challenged by issues of urbanization, population growth, economic development, infrastructure, and then most importantly, how to move from point A to point B, which in terms of growing national building. So, and then if you look at that versus how we are currently operating, then we saw a risk that the country is facing an imminent danger if things are not being quickly addressed as enumerated in this book.
Okay, and this thing, because in your foreword or so, you actually practically credited somebody for inspiring you.
Yes.
You said this book originated from a conversation with Saad Ahmed.
Yes.
About moving Nigeria forward.
Yes.
Can you share that conversation a bit?
Yeah, I mean, the conversation always was, he is a classmate, he's a professor of pathology now.
Okay.
And we always talk about Nigeria, as most people do. And today is economy, tomorrow is some other topic,
Yes.
politics, justice.
Mhm.
And then I got to a point, and a particular point that he said was, yeah, what are we going to do about it? We keep saying this is not working, that is not working. What is our contribution? From that day, I began to think, yeah, maybe I'm too much of an analyst at this point. What have the solutions? I mean, what have we analyzed? Can we put solutions to them in terms of from our skills? So I began to think differently, and this is the end product.
Okay, another portion I saw, you see, also under the listed approaches taken together could constitute the core agenda for the anticipated change in an era of continued public service decline.
Yes.
Now, you gave out some points.
Yes.
Point 1, optimize the overall federal, state, and local government structure.
Yes.
Scale an operating business model for digital enablement.
Yes.
Wouldn't that take a long time?
No. Actually, what you have is a model that is based on manual. This model is coming from the 18th century, with the British, having colonized us.
Mm-hmm.
So the civil service built on that model. Moving file from point A to B. Having that structure of a horizontal stroke, a vertical structure that actually supports only horizontal movement of information. Okay? But now, with technology and over time of the development, and you see the power technology has, people are beginning to see that government services has to go a little bit from the vertical to the horizontal. So to make that change, I don't think it's so much of a difficult thing to do.
I'm happy you...
It's more of a policy thing.
Yes, okay. Now, there's also, talking of policy, then look at radically redesigning public services to improve quality of service and cost efficiency.
Yes.
What's perceived to be lacking in the civil service is the issue of cost efficiency.
And also the issue of information flow. You see, when information is designed, when information is not designed to flow effectively or efficiently, then you have a challenge where you may have blockade, constraints, and all of that. And that leads to mounting costs. For example, I tell somebody, how long does it take for all the ministries to send a memo to themselves to make a meeting happen? Can that happen in 30 minutes?
Wouldn't that come also from a passionate description of mindset? This is designed, okay? It's a blueprint.
Yes.
And it's loved, okay, very beautiful, practicable. But what about the people who will practice it?
I've been involved in
mindset.
Yes, this is correct. That's why it's called transformation. So that's why you need an architect, you need an expert, you need people to sit on this to drive it. Change is not acceptable anywhere, including I sitting here, for example. If you're going to ask me to start learning to write with my left, I'm sure I'm not going to find that funny,
Yes.
So it's not the people that they are not the problem. Actually, it's the leadership must be ready for change. For example, organizations, even 3 or 4 organizations where I've worked have been part of change and made them happen. For example, we created the Nigerian Petroleum Exchange, an online procurement management platform for serious engineering in the upstream in Napins here in Lagos, and it's working. Wow. And people say, it will take time for people to acclimatize to the new way of doing things. But if we say, okay, ladies and gentlemen, from tomorrow, this is the way we are going to be making phone calls. When the GSM came, I remember when the first call, I remember, and I just I tell people this, when the first GSM call I received on a landline in my office in Shah, and I looked at the number, I was like, what is this? Where's this guy calling me from? Because normally I look at the number. So it was quite strange to me. Not knowing that a friend of mine who is heading one of the deployments in Lagos just wanted to use my phone to make a test run of a call. And then he called me back to tell me, you're the first guy to receive a network call from our network.
In fact, there's a woman who saw, I have to share this story.
Please go ahead.
An older woman who saw a young man holding a small phone and just talking and gesticulating. So the woman said, Almighty you. That is where don't go.
So you can imagine
that was that was actually
maybe 2001.
No, the 09 time.
Okay,
late 90s. And we were all looking at her, and us. I knew what was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I just said, "Oh, madam, that's the new phone that we're on."
So you can imagine.
Said this is our country. Okay, now restructure the government's approach to public service delivery, incorporating a common shared service model and framework.
Yes.
Then strengthen functional technical leadership. You mentioned that earlier. And capabilities across government services to support efficiency delivery and develop the vision, the accountability, and capacity needed to drive a public sector digital transformation effort.
Yes.
Now, I love the points you have raised there. But on a critical note, the Nigerian broadcasting system is going digital, okay? And they said everybody should go digital. So you're going to digitize the broadcasting landscape. This may not be your forte, but it's taking such a long time for the will to get this thing off the ground. This is why some of us display this kind of what appears to be pessimism, or, so what do you think is causing that delay?
I mean, it's
that type of delay.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I think you know the answers to these questions already. But I mean, the advantages of going digital are quite very visible and clear. If you've seen the digital systems work, so I don't understand why it should be the broadcasting international or both the national forcing the stations to move digital. I don't see that. Because I don't see who is selling any analog equipment as at this point in time.
Nobody. In fact,
So when will you get them to buy, except you are buying second hands? Because the new ones aren't being made.
Yes.
So the question to me is, do you really need somebody to tell you to move digital? Or how you will move digital, whether you're doing it slowly or... So for me, speed is not the issue, because in the next 5-10 years, you are not digital, forget it, you don't exist.
Exactly.
Because you're living in your own world, which obviously probably is going to be in the grave. Because digital has come to stay.
So we have no choice.
You have no choice, because at the end, even the airwaves is going to be taken out. You don't have to broadcast your signals on the airwave anymore. When we are going to put fibers everywhere and content you're going to be selling, that's broadcasting of the future. People don't get it. Television is going, radio, all of these things are gone.
So we'll be using devices.
You're going to be using devices, all kinds of devices, both wearables, mobiles, and your content will be moving with you. So as soon as you're moving from one device to another, for example, self-driving car, you were watching a movie at home and something you want to run to catch up a meeting, and you get into the car, your content that you were watching at home suddenly transfers into the screen and the self-driving car, and you continue to... This is real, this is happening. So,
and the car will not get an accident.
No, so I mean, we're going to be talking about what are the rates of accidents.
I'm sure that will reduce drastically.
Yes, this is the thing. The artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, money. Sweden just approached 80% cashless a few weeks ago. I'm sure you heard the UK and France, they are banning petrol and diesel engines from 2030.
Oh my goodness.
So this is real. This is no joke.
So petroleum is also going to...
Yeah, this is why the digital transformation is very key, and that's why we're telling those who are in the authority to please sit up. Running Nigeria today, you need about $15 billion annually.
Wow.
And so if we don't get that from oil, we have to get it from somewhere else. Otherwise, then the country will be a shipwreck.
Now, these are very hard facts, hard realities.
Very, very hard, yes.
But again, looking at... You mentioned something, question of leadership. That sort of, it didn't jolt me, because we've been talking about it. We all make these observations. We talk. Who is going to make the leader in quote now? I mean, leader is everywhere. Leader is in government, is in private sector, is in the market, is in anywhere, So how do you get that leader to understand that he has a responsibility to serve the people?
Okay, let me give you an example. We use the word shared services across all the platform. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
Today in Nigeria, about 23 agencies of government are basically acquiring biometric data across different infrastructures that are not integrated. And immigration is doing that. Federal Road Safety Corps, SSS, police, INEC, the banks, telecommunication.
Yes.
This is waste. And we've looked at it and said, oh man, what is this waste looking like? Almost $2 billion annually. Can we cut this immediately and save money, you know, for basic for infrastructure? So this is how a leader can emerge. Somebody can pick up this kind of message and say, okay, how do we remove this waste so that we can put this money into roads, power, education, health?
With the inconsistency in policy actualization,
well,
how does that help us?
Yeah, that's another challenge. You know, you see, there's no clear leader along the digital space currently. You have multi environment filled with different many regulators,
yes.
and many government agencies. For example, I tell somebody, I don't know what's the difference between broadcasting and communication.
Exactly.
Why do you have two agencies?
Exactly.
Across the world, you have only one agency because it's the same. Okay, there's no.
That's the very loaded question.
So the question is: so we have multiplicity everywhere. So and then why won't you have policy inconsistency? So this is what is leading to it. So that's why we say let's harmonize, let's streamline, let's optimize. Let's get an agency to do its core responsibility.
Yes.
You know, let's start doing things in the right way for the first time. Let's change. And that change requires a transformation into say, okay, what is wrong with us? Can we save money? Can we do this? We need an architect to sit down and say, okay, let's plan this. If you want to build a good house, I think you hire an architect.
Yes.
So the country needs a digital architect.
With a man as experienced as you and very analytical by all imagination, and also understanding the inconsistencies we just talked about, what's your perceived, determination of how long this can be embraced and so proper action can be taken? How long do you think?
That's why it's interesting for me, because when I was actually writing this, I thought, okay, I'm sure somebody's going to ask me, yes, you can talk all about the technical stuff. You guys are gurus in that. So how do we do this thing you're talking about? That's the book. The template is in your hands.
I know.
So I put everything there, 48 months timeline, what to do first, how to do it, who to do, what, how to, if I basically do what is required to move Nigeria public service to a digital platform.
The Nigerian public service is the engine room of
of Nigeria, yes, because people don't get it. The federal government is the biggest spender in the economy.
Yes.
So if it's doing things right, what do you think will happen to the others? The system will just get right.
From your, you called a portion, mission statement, Nigeria's Vision 2020. And it says, by 2020, Nigeria will have a large, strong, diversified, sustainable, and competitive economy that effectively harnesses the talents and energies of its people and responsibly exploits. It will exploit the natural endowments to guarantee a high standard of living and quality of life to its citizens.
Yes, I call that from the, we're good
and
at...
This is 2017, and it's the 8th month of 2017. So that means we have...
We have not even started.
We have actually 2 years and 4 months to go.
So we haven't even started.
Is this realizable?
No. So this is the question.
And this book you gave 48 months?
Yes.
That's 2 years.
2 years.
Sorry. 48. That's 4 years.
4 years, sorry.
Okay.
If of course, the will is there, because we also, why it's even that long is not because of the policies. Policies are statements that can be released in minutes. But it's that long because of some key infrastructure, and then looking at the legal side of things, especially when it comes to very archaic laws that we have. People don't also know that today we are doing digital in the private world now, but we're not supported by the legal. For example, the Evidence Act does not recognize these electronic documents as legal entities.
If it becomes an action in court,
a video, for example, or like this audio of this session cannot be admitted as an evidence.
So it has to be hard copy.
So you can imagine. So if I use this as an alibi that I was here, I cannot present this recording to say, okay, I had an interview here. Why something
You're
was
breaking my heart.
Yeah, our laws doesn't support that. So you can imagine. So I tell somebody, you are transferring money on your mobile phone. If that money gets lost, you cannot really sue anybody.
Wow. Money is getting lost.
Yeah, you can't sue anybody.
Is that why we can find money like $48 million in the house, unexplained?
In fact, some of my colleagues were when they read it, somebody rushed to my office to ask me what is going wrong in Nigeria.
Okay, we may be sounding cynical as it is, but in all honesty, let's call a spade a spade. We have to move. We have no choice.
Yes.
Otherwise, the world will leave us behind.
That's where we are now. Yes.
So, what's your most practicable advice for anybody? Leadership, the followership, all of them, the professionals. What should they be doing?
We should be thinking of how to support the country, because right now the country is at is facing a huge number of risks in terms of population growth, urbanization. See the number of people coming to Lagos and Abuja. And then if you see the growth that is expected, the growth of 2.25% by the Nigerian Bureau for Statistics.
That's huge.
That's huge for a country of already 180 million people. If you see the number of universities and the graduates we are releasing every year, and there are no jobs. So we actually
in this book where you said this can create lots of jobs.
Yes.
Digitization.
So yes, this is a time bomb. So if anybody is listening, this is the time we start doing the right things now in terms of moving the countries forward, in terms of trying to provide an enabling environment to move our infrastructure, our people, and our society forward. Because right now there's a lot of waste in the system, whether in the federal, state, or local government. In fact, I tell people the local government is even more. In fact, they are the I think the cesspool of corruption in this country, because they don't exist. They only exist in paper, because I don't see my local government.
So there is no law or act that created the local government. Is that what you're saying?
No, they exist in terms of legal. They collect monies, they do things, but do they really touch the life of the people?
Oh, okay.
That's what I mean.
Functionality.
Are they functional? Many local governments are not. Many local governments across the country, it's not just a question of whether it's south or north. It's the same everywhere. Many of them are absent.
Talking about scare, this is scary again.
So when you look at that, and we have put that into the challenge that we are faced with, low oil prices, maybe possible drop in demand, which will also lead to drop in prices. Okay.
If UK and France are already saying,
so you can imagine that
there should be no.
Then imagine the population gets to 250 million. Okay, all this by like 2025. Then imagine Nigerians on the internet. Right now we have over 100 million Nigerians on the internet.
Yes.
But they are basically there because of their mobile phone.
And because of the gossip lines that are happening. So without their mobile phones, they're off.
They're offline. So
okay, we are experiencing that.
Yeah. So this is really not good. This is not internet. Well, you should be talking of fiber and all of those things. Your internet at home, not at work, not mobile internet. You can't work with that really.
Wow. Okay, we will be allowing phone calls to come soon enough. That will be from 2:30. That's on the half hour. 0700. That's 0700 0700 923 923 923. And I know they were blinking before they look. They started ringing. Don't worry, I can't take your calls now. I'll take it after a short break. And I'm just hoping that when you do come on, please make sure your questions are straight to the point, not too windy, not too long, so that we can make sense of a good conversation. But meanwhile, there's a song here that has been, recommended that I thought we should just give a chance to play, and this is Make It Happen, and that's a good one, asking Nigerian people to make this thing happen, and it's by Mariah Carey.